Welcome to Market Matters, the Friday edition. I'm Nadia Hassan. Of course, you know my partner with the shorn head, which is Sulhi Azman. The fact is, it's our first Friday Market Matters for 2016. So we don't have, and in a way, I hope it doesn't say how the world's going. We've got a couple of sads and not many happies, but let's start out with how the market is, because the first sad is related to the market. KLCI was actually up about 2% to 1,657.61. The reason why this is amazing is because it's been the crappiest of the crap weeks in terms of the share market.
It's recovering basically, Nadia.
Well, I think Malaysia, more than anything, we've always been the counter.
Correct.
You know, lagging everybody else because it's been such a bad week, and all of that is related to one particular person, which is actually China. It's one of the worst starts they've seen to the year, and as a result, the Dow Jones actually felt it as well. Thursday, the Dow dropped about 392 points on Thursday. S&P fell 2.5%, Nasdaq fell 3%. This start was the worst that anybody's seen since they've started recording stats. The Nasdaq fall also, it's the worst they've seen since 2000, just before the bubble.
Yeah, correct. And and this Dow points, right? These local markets, they have actually plunged by triple digits, since that we have seen so far. And undoubtedly, when China sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. Basically,
exactly.
Not only the ASEAN market, also over in the European and also as well as in the US markets.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a thing to say that China knocked everybody for a loop. And of course, it's going to be the biggest thing that a lot of people say is going to impact the markets this year. To be fair, I could have not looked at my crystal ball and told you exactly the same thing, but there could be something else, because they were talking about how our dear North Koreans decided to detonate a H-bomb, and that's a lot of people quite shivers about geopolitical concerns.
Yes, already we have a lot of things going on, but some people say that it's a fake, or probably it could be a black swan, an expected event, not the movie that
basically
earlier.
Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis had sex. Yeah, that's the one. It's not going to be. Black swan is a term that a lot of people do use, and that's the thing is you're trying to look out for the ones.
Correct.
So so moving on to the fact is what happened with China was that it triggered this new mechanism called a circuit breaker.
Correct.
So when the market hits about 7% down, it trips. It suspends the market for about 15 minutes. And of course, the reason why they had it is because, well, a couple of reasons. It's because the Chinese market had probably one of the worst years last year, because in summer, it just collapsed.
And the devaluation of the yuan as well is not helping as well. At the same time, you have these macro factors as well. The GDP, for instance, has been falling since a double digit to 7% or 6.9%, if you want to be exact to that.
Yeah.
And this has sent routes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So it's made a lot of people panic. And the fact about the Chinese market is it's also related to the kind of investors that China has. China is overwhelmingly retail, which is like 85% of them are retail, which is so different from the rest of the world. Correct. That's your auntie, your uncle, that person who's selling kacang outside. All
Correct.
of them are participants.
It's a liquid market.
Yeah, it's too liquid.
Yes.
So that's why fear and greed rule them more than most. So that's why they wanted these circuit breakers, and it tripped them twice.
And also the IPO shakes market as well, which is why the government is suspending the listing of new.
Yeah, it suspended them for quite a few years.
Quite a few years, yeah.
Yeah, so fear and greed drive this market, and because of that, the circuit breakers tripped twice, and that's why it caused the US market to be quite so bad. And then what happened on Thursday after because I think it's a chicken and egg situation, don't you feel? Because people are panicked that they'll suspend, so they sell more, and because they sell more, it triggers the circuit breaker. So it's a loop. It's a loop. It's a psychopathic loop.
And also the regulatory commission is suspending the circuit breaker for the first time, and even there's a criticism the regulators simply have no idea what they're doing, and the market
That's a nice way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
So I think you are just experimenting on people. So yeah, it's bonkers. But yeah, we'll have to see how it affects, because like you said, our market is green. Whether it's going to be the same over the weekend, let's see how. The other thing that actually made us a little bit wary today was, I love this word, recalibration of budget 2016. Interesting, because I think a few days ago, somebody else in the government also said, no, we're not changing budget. Don't be silly, silly child.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the current budget, our Malaysian economy, we are a net oil exporter. 30% of our economy or revenue is derived from the oil and gas sectors. And the current oil prices, which has dropped from $110 per barrel
to 20, is it about there?
To 30, yes, to to about 40. Even Goldman Sachs has a prediction that it will go as low as 20 ringgit per barrel. Now, this obviously create panics and fear in the current market. And today, our dear beloved Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak has said that the budget will be recalibrated, revised actually. If this is going to happen, it's going to be the second time that they will revise the budget since early last year.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised that they are doing this? Because obviously when they did this, the situation wasn't as great as they thought it was. Fine, you want to recalibrate the budget, fine. But the thing is, you have to take care of both sides. It's not just it's not just the taking money from people, because our dear PM did say GST was the magnificent savior. We'd be probably bankrupt without it. On the other hand, isn't our spending something to keep an eye on too?
Yeah, you are right as well. I mean, at the same time, if you look at the budgets, right? They think that if you actually recalibrate the budget, you see, are they optimistic in the first place?
I don't think so.
The current oil price has been revised from $55 per barrel. Now it went down to 40, and then in 2016 it was $48 per barrel. Now it is like below 40, and
exactly.
It's a little
look.
strange.
Stop telling us to get second jobs and cook in the office. I think the spending has to be adjusted. It has to be a both sides, only then it works. But anyways, since we're running out of time, let's move on to the only thing that made me happy this week. I don't know if it made you happy, but I think it made a lot of people on Facebook happy, because I kept seeing everybody talking about Netflix and chill. And I don't know if they actually know what that means. That actually means some people making love while watching Netflix. I don't know if they know that, because I don't know why they put it on the Facebook. The fact is, on January 7th, Malaysians woke up to the fact that Netflix, the massive giant online streaming service in the US, has launched in our country.
Correct, and at CES 2016, the co-founder and CEO Reed Hastings said that you are witnessing the birth of a new global internet TV network, which is a new world order.
Yeah. I love that. The fact is, he wants to be a disruptor. Netflix is a disruptor. And who's it going to probably disrupt? Astro and iFlix. The two of them, I think, although they haven't come out to say how it's going to impact them, they wouldn't be human if they weren't a little bit scared. Because if you see how Netflix has changed the face in the US of the cable providers, of the satellite providers, you would be nuts if you weren't a little bit wary.
Well, they started with a DVD in the first instance, where they're going to subscribe and send it back, and now they've gone online streaming, and it's a really major market mover.
Yeah, exactly. So, and for them, the big thing was they created a lot of original content. That's why people bought into Netflix. But as to whether
House of Cards is one of them.
Yes, exactly, which is not going to be streamed here for some ludicrous reason.
Yeah.
The fact is, right, I think Astro has actually almost the Netflix idea, where they are banking on the vernacular content, the local content, the content that speaks to us, rather than Netflix, which is an international guy. So they're doing almost the same thing. I do not know how it's going to impact the on-demand. And this requires a lot of internet service, which probably the most rural do not have. So Astro still has its space. It still has its space with sports, it still has space with news. But for the millennials, it's going to be a big thing.
Correct, and if you, talking to another competitor as well, HIP TV for instance, we have all these cable, fiber optics going and so on. I don't think they will be impacted that much, but we have yet to see how they will try to, counter or compete with these big boys.
iFlix, I think, is going to be one of the biggest losers. I say that now. I think Azman may give me a call and tell me the truth. But the fact is, I think it's going to be tough for them. Even his responses, they say it's good for the industry, but he didn't say whether it's good for him. But anyway, on that note, we are going to chill, because that's all for Market Matters today. If you actually want more on news, you can actually go online to theedgemarkets.com or pick up a copy of the paper. We'll have that tomorrow. I'm Nadia Hassan. He's Sulhi Azman. Have a good weekend, guys, and don't forget to chill.
Good luck.